How'd you like to finish the college basketball season paying under $30 per week? Between now and Selection Sunday on March 12th, there's still tons of regular season college basketball action to go. Plus, all of the conference tournaments and WagerTalk and Sports Memo are announcing their March Madness Bonanza special that will include the rest of the college basketball regular season, conference tournaments, NCAA tournament through the national championship, and any plays released in the NIT or CBI tournaments. That's right, from Monday, February 27th through Monday, April 3rd, there are 5 full weeks of hoops action, which breaks down to under $30 per week. Sign up for this promotion now on your favorite handicappers homepage and get the rest of the college basketball season through the national championship in Houston on Monday, April 3rd, plus all non-March Madness tourneys, including the NIT and CBI, all for only $149. That's under $5 a day for one of the best betting experiences in sports. Some call March Madness the most exciting time in sports betting, so act fast as the March Madness Bonanza special is only available for a limited time. Grab your favorite college basketball handicapper, or perhaps add 2 or 3 college hoops experts to make this March Madness not only exciting, but also profitable. No coupon is needed, just head to the homepage of the handicapper of choice and lock the $149 price in now. As the earlier you sign up, the more days you receive.
Hey guys, welcome in, and a very happy, what the hell's today now? Friday, I believe it is. It is March the 10th, and we've got plenty of college basketball on our minds. A few games underway already as we inch a little bit closer to Selection Sunday. A lot of games here tonight, and of course, championship weekend. We've got 3 we've isolated for you. We'll take a look at a little Big Ten, a little Big East, a little Mountain West, and we'll break them down with 3 of the best at WagerTalk.com as we welcome back in Drew Martin in the house, as is R1L Steve Merrill, and of course Adam Trigger hanging out. Bet I know who he's going in this Akron game here today. Welcome in here, gentlemen. Happy Friday as we are off and running already here as of taping here. We've got a little Conference USA action, SEC underway, Big Ten. These early games are off and running. And Drew, anything on the card here later today that you've got available at your page at WagerTalk.com?
Absolutely, Joe. Got one late night tonight. Just getting into the clients now, shortly before the show. Got the best bet ready to rock on today's show. And I like your intro there, Joe. You know, what day is it? It's March Madness. We got the start of a little banking crisis in our economy. Who cares? We got March Madness upon us. It's conference championship week. We're less than a week out from the real tournament starting. So always good to be on with you, Joe, and excited to break down these games.
That's what they make mattresses for, Drew. You know that. What is going on, Merrill? What's happening? I know you're ready to roll here. Actually, nice NBA card here tonight, as well as plenty of college basketball. What do you got available on this Friday?
First of all, that's what they make sports betting accounts for. That's where you put your cash, because you can roll it over every 3 hours and get a 100% return, right? And I also love that Adam Trigger is doing the Dave Sharapan with all these sweatshirts. It's a great way to add your collection. He's got like one different school every day. I love it. He's got a new school today that we'll talk a little Mac Attack with him. But yeah, first of all, thanks to Tony Mejia. He let me fill in for him today. He was having some internet issues. Tony will be back on the NBA show at 4:15 Eastern with me. And going to talk some college hoops. And I've been seeing it well this week, guys. 7-2, 78% run. Also hit both free plays on Wednesday on my page. I've got a 2-for-1 special tonight. 1 NBA, 1 college hoops, the 2 strongest plays on the board, plus another bonus free play on the nighttime card in college hoops. And don't forget, not too late to enter that free Selection Sunday contest. Only a couple days left. If you pick enough questions right, you can win anywhere from 1 day to 1 full year, a $2,000 value of my personal best bets. It's a lot of fun. The first one on the board is getting easier to pick now. Will North Carolina make the tournament? Probably no longer a 50-50 question, but it's still there in the contest. For free to enter, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
God, let's hope not. What is going on here? Trig, talk to us, my man. I know big week so far. Going to be an even bigger night, and of course weekend. Do you have anything ready to roll over at WagerTalk.com tonight?
I do. First of all, Steve, I have never seen a merch stand I don't like. So I go to all these games and I just get sucked in every
Good
time.
point.
I keep buying. So Kent State was a place that I've been earlier this year. No opinion for me in that game though. I think both those teams are awesome. Should be a great game. Huge rivals. Those two schools about 20 minutes away. So a nice rubber match rivalry to see whose season continues tonight. That should be pretty cool. I have a 5% play up. Nice 4-0 day yesterday. It was a great way to bounce back from losing a couple on Wednesday. I'm now 21-6. My last 27 college basketball plays. So the run has been really good. And I've got a 5%er that goes tonight. Play I love. And I have a 4% play that I'm going to give you for free on the show. The only two things I'm playing today. So stay tuned. Also, Joe, before I have to do this or Johnny will get upset with me.
Oh,
We have a meet and greet next week. It's
Yes.
on the East Coast. It's in Central New York. It's going to be myself, Brian Power, CT Betts, Mark Zeno's coming. There's going to be other names are escaping me. I think Ralph Michaels is actually making the trip with Jeff, and I know there's people I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now. The point is, a bunch of us are going to be up there watching hoop pretty much all weekend. The official meet and greet is Saturday, where we'll all be there all day. But I'm going to be around Thursday, Friday as well. So we're going to be at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino, Verona, New York, about 30 minutes outside of Syracuse, about 90 minutes west of Albany. If you have any interest in hitting some NCAA tournament games while you're in town, that's about 90 minutes away. It's going to be fun. We're just going to be hanging out. So if you are in the area or feel like taking a ride up, we'll be there the whole time. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, you can check it out, guys. If you head over to WagerTalk.com, you can head over to Trig's Twitter page. There, all the information posted for you as we get ready to start the madness next week. But we'll start the madness for tonight as we'll begin the Big Ten as a pretty big matchup here for Indiana. They'll be laying 2, taking on Maryland, and it looks like that total at 135. 135 in this one. And boy, oh boy, what number 3 versus number 6 is what we got here in this quarterfinal matchup. 9:00 Eastern time tip. I think it's been a while since Indiana has actually been in a Big Ten final with a chance to take it down. 1998, if I remember correctly, reading it, Drew. So uncharted territory maybe for Indiana here. The question is, this is still kind of a road game for Maryland, though. I don't know. Do you trust Maryland to overtake them here tonight?
You know what, Joe? I do. I think the Terps are the side here. I think maybe a little wrong team favored. Sprinkle some on the money line. You can also search around using the Wager Talk Live odds screen. If you got a Caesars account, find +2.5 on the Terps. I like that side. You bring up Indiana having a little bit of a skid. It's been a while since winning the conference, and actually, Joe, they finished the year on a bad run here. Just 1-6 against the spread. They've been overpriced, the Hoosiers, and I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. Their defense not playing as well, granted against good competition, but going up against the Terps here. Maryland has been playing some good basketball. They've won 4 of their last 5 against the spread. They just won by 16 points in their first round game. So already getting a game under their belt in the arena here, United Center in Chicago, Illinois. And Maryland, a team, I know Steve Merrill talks about this in terms of defensive and offensive efficiency. They're top 35 in the nation on both sides of the court. I do like betting on that type of profile in March. Not to mention their best player, their senior point guard, Jameer Young. He's got the ball in his hands, distribute it that way. I like betting on that profile this time of year and catching the 2.5 at Caesars, +2 widely available. I think Maryland's the side in the 9 p.m. Eastern Big Ten tournament game tonight, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a nice little bounce back spot for the Terps here, and they handled business. Kind of a pesky Minnesota team here, but eventually they got it done and got the cover there, Steve. So, what do you think? Can they roll this into a win against Indiana here tonight?
Well, one team that's never been in the Big Ten tournament finals, and that's Maryland.
Mm,
Haven't been in it too long. But you got me looking up some history here. You forget the Big Ten tournament didn't start until 1998.
yeah.
You don't, everything's so recent that these tournaments didn't used to do this. They'd have a regular season champ. You could probably win a lot of bar bets tonight and this weekend if you go out there and say Indiana has never won the Big Ten tournament. They've only been there once ever. And it's really crazy. And that was in 2001. They were the runner-up to Iowa, the fourth year they had the tournament. Michigan won the first one. Michigan State won the next two, which isn't surprising. But, yeah, these are two teams. One of them's going to get there, obviously. And I like what Drew went with the balance attack. That is something I do like to look at, those Ken Palms. And Maryland, though, home road dichotomy obviously jumps out to you also because they were so good at home at times this year and struggled a bit on the road. Tony Mejia, once again, was going to be on today. He sent some notes over, so I wanted to give him some shout-outs. He's got the net rankings here, 28th for the Terp, IU 30th, so they're almost dead equal there. And Tony mentioned that, Maryland 16-1 at home, 2-9 on the road, which is something I was referencing as well. But once again, they've played here, neutral court. I don't worry too much about that. I think this one goes down to the wire. It's not a game I'm going to be involved in tonight. We'll look at where the line's been, at least from any sharp money. I think a little bit's been on Indiana. It opened 1. It's up to 2. Total's dropped a bit as well, 35.5 down to 135. So a little bit of sharp money on Indiana, but I thought Drew made some good cases for Maryland.
All right. Well, what are you thinking we're going to get here tonight, Trig? It's an intriguing matchup with these two teams here. Are you leaning one way or the other?
Yeah, I think I'd have to lean with Drew for the reason being they're the team catching points, and I really wouldn't give either team. I wouldn't have either team laying points in this scenario. So I think you can throw out the not good on the road sort of, angle because Maryland played here last night and won. I think that almost like trumps their having their shortcomings on the road. And the other thing is Indiana's not very good on the road either. So you could really make a case that neither team is a team that you want to back outside of their home gym. The other thing that kind of points me to the Maryland side is the first meeting. Maryland won that game 66-55, Joe, by 11 points, and they shot like 30%. So they managed to win a game by double digits. And I think they shot, I wish I wrote it down. I think they shot 34%. That's going off the top of my head. So if you can dominate again, win by that margin. And the thing is, like the statistic, it wasn't, there's no reason for it that I could tell other than, they're just Maryland being in that particular game. They just a little bit hungrier, wanted it more, whatever. But if you shoot that poorly and you can find a way to win, now you get this team on a neutral floor, a team in Indiana that hasn't played particularly well on the road either. And you know what, Joe? I think this gets discounted at this time, and I don't understand why. I really like these teams that got to play a game and now get to play the team that kind of just rolled in, a day late and had the bye. I think those teams tend to, even if it just takes them a few minutes to figure it out, that could be the difference. And then you talk about catching a couple points. So, like I said, I kind of want to bet against both of these teams, Joe. So I don't have an official play here, but I certainly lean toward Maryland, the team that got to play last night and played well, and that they're catching points. So a lean toward Maryland plus the points for me.
So I believe last five times these two teams have met, the favorite has handled business. We'll see what we get here tonight with Indiana lane 2 against Maryland. That's going to be a 9 o'clock tip-off time. And then we have a Big East matchup. And by the way, these are all like estimated, like somewhere around 9 o'clock, depending on what the hell happens with the games prior. But Xavier taking on Creighton, and Xavier with the comeback for the ages yesterday. I have no idea how they actually came back against DePaul, but they did. And Creighton, well, they never trailed, and they are against Villanova, and now they're a favorite here, laying 3.5. 152.5 here at 9 o'clock. But I can tell you this, the Garden, If Xavier lets Creighton shoot 60% or better like they did DePaul, it's lights out for them there, Drew. Who you leaning with on this one?
I think Creighton's the side here, and it's going towards kind of what you were teeing up there, Joe. I mean, Xavier just what last night, 12-point favorites, only winning by 5. Got to give him some credit coming back. But ever since Zach Fremantle went out, now he's out for the year. I haven't really been looking to bet on Xavier. They've been about what 500 against the spread. But up against Creighton here, I think that's the story, Joe. And if Creighton's able to shoot anywhere near what DePaul was, I think they're the side. And when you add in the fact they've scored 87 points, 84 points, and 99 points their last 3 games out. They're seeing it well. They're heating it up offensively. They've won 3 straight, both straight up and against the spread. Don't love laying the points here, but hey, as we're getting a little bit closer towards opening day, I think the Blue Jays are the side here, Joe.
Kind of hard. I mean, listen, as good as DePaul shot it, man, Creighton was lights out last night there, Merrill. It's like Villanova never really had a shot to try to get back into this thing. They were just, they were too good. They shoot like that again. This is an intriguing matchup. Maybe one that sees it fly over the total, even though they're not that fast. What do you think we're going to get here tonight?
Well, I always talk about how I like the slower half-court teams come tournament time in the one-and-done scenarios. And you could say it applies also to the conference tournaments. But with March Madness, with the NCAAs, everyone's off for at least a day, if not 5 days in between games. That's not the case here with these games. Both teams were rested last night. You mentioned Xavier having to play from behind. Terrible defense. If you told me before the game DePaul was going to shoot 60% from the field, 50% from 3, probably would have thought they won the game outright. But Xavier found a way to win. They've played the 31st fastest tempo in the country this year, and I bring that up because that's not necessarily a good thing when playing back-to-back nights. And the one big edge that Creighton has in this game is defensively. 14th most efficient defense. Xavier is just the 92nd defense, even though these teams are both top 16 overall ranked in the KenPom. So I think defense is the difference. Fatigue could be an issue as well for Xavier, and Creighton minus 3.5 is the play. We'll look at when they played earlier this season. They played twice in January. Xavier won by 3 at home. They were down by 1 at the half. And then Creighton, though, won the rematch by 17 at home, was up by 14 at the half. I think that's more indicative of probably how this game plays out the third time tonight.
Which defense is going to get some stops? Ultimately, both of these offenses are capable of putting up some points here. What do you think this is going to be? Is this a track meet, do you think here, Trig, or do you think this is going to be final possession kind of game?
I mean, if Xavier has a death wish, they make it a track meet. That would be horrible for them. They played 6 guys last night, and it was an 89-84 game. Now they have to turn around. Xavier's only chance here, Joe, in my opinion, is to slow this game down. Because if they try to, it feels like, this is for lack of a better term, Joe, feels like Creighton's kind of in FU mode right now. Like, this is a team, and I lean with the guys here. I think Creighton is the right side. Didn't necessarily want to lay that number, but the more I look at it, like, this is a team that really was widely sort of the trend, like, considered the team in this conference coming into this year. If you remember, actually, it was Creighton and Villanova that people liked, and UConn and Xavier and those teams were kind of like the cut below. And of course, UConn emerges as now they're kind of coming back into the mix, but Creighton ends up finishing 3rd. I feel like Creighton kind of wants to win this tournament. I just have this feeling that they want to make a statement and go out and win this Big East tournament. Whereas Xavier, I just, Sean Miller's their coach. He's not exactly like, I don't feel like he needs to exactly prove anything, right? Like, he's probably measured by success in the NCAA tournament more than he probably cares about a Big East tournament. We saw Xavier kind of flirting with getting bounced last night. They come back and win, but man, I just like the short bench concerns me here. Drew mentioned Fremantle out. Like Nunji can play with Kalkbrenner and give him some trouble, but the fatigue is the thing that really, really concerns me here. They keep coming back to the fact that Xavier played 6 guys last night, and now they have to play another game just to potentially play another game. Like, you have to wonder if like what the motivation is there and how badly they want it in comparison to Creighton, who, and again, we're just playing like locker room psychologist here. It's very difficult And that's what makes this day extremely challenging, right? Like these conference tournaments, for whatever, like some teams really care. Some teams are just going through the motions. You got teams that are already in the NCAA tournament. So you kind of have to like figure out where the motivation is. But just a hunch here, I feel like Creighton really wants this. I feel like because they fell short in the regular season in the Big East from winning a Big East regular season title, actually finished below Xavier. It went Marquette, Xavier, Creighton in the standings. I feel like Creighton just they're going to have a little bit more of the chip on their shoulder, and I think we started to see that last night a little bit, and I think it carries over here. So I lean with these guys. I think Creighton's the right side as well.
All 5 starters, double digit scoring last night for Creighton. So pretty balanced attack and looking for that first Big East title since joining. So should be a good one here tonight at the Garden. And then we've got one that might actually take place tomorrow. I would anticipate this thing not starting until after midnight here tonight on the East Coast as Utah State taking on Boise State. Utah State laying 2, total 145, and Boise State, my goodness, they were blowing out UNLV in the first half last night, allowed UNLV to get this thing tied to go to overtime. Boise State comes away with the victory, but at what cost, as Utah State pretty much boat raced what looked like a pretty damn tired New Mexico team last night. So 145 is the total. It's an intriguing matchup here, Drew, one that I don't know. Are we going to get a ton of points here? Is Utah State the way to look? How are you looking at this one?
You know, Joe, I do think Utah State's the way to look. I mean, they're hot right. They're hotter than Adam Trigger. I mean, they've won 6 straight, both straight up and against the spread. So I'm not really looking to go against them. At the same time, I don't love laying the points again. You know, -2.5, touching -3 here, looking at the WagerTalk Live odds screen. But going towards the Boise State side, and you mentioned it, Joe, an overtime game just last night, and I don't tend to like look to fade that by any means. When I was 18 to 23 years old, I could run for a week straight. So I don't just like blindly fade that situation. However, it does need to be noticed. I would go after the total here, Joe. I mean, you mentioned, could there be a lot of points? I think so. This is what, a mid 140s, 144 being the total we can find out there. And Boise State, their last 2 games to the over, 4 their last 5 to the over, they're playing a little bit more of an up-tempo brand of basketball towards the end of the season. And Utah State, I mean, they can score. Last time they played Boise State, these 2 teams matched up. It was actually in March 4th, 86 to 73. I'll do the math for you. That's 159. This total just 144. They played 3 straight overs. So, hey, it's a late night, Friday night action, Mountain West in Las Vegas. I'd go up and over here, Joe. I think that's a good bet. Boise State, Utah State over 144.5.
All right, liking the points here, and Utah State starts hitting them from the outside. It won't take long before it goes up and over there. What are you thinking, Merrill, with this game here? Utah State, are we getting in front of Utah State here?
Well, this game opened 2 as far as the spread goes, has not really moved. It's pretty much still 2. We see 145, hasn't really moved there either. So very little movement on the line, side or total. It is a late game, as you said. So obviously we'll see more money come in later this evening into the wee hours of the morning. And need to know from Drew Martin, is it still a degenerate late night special if it does start at 12 a.m. Eastern time?
Yes.
Might be the exact opposite. But it's still Pacific time, right? So no matter what, Joe, this game will start Friday night in Las Vegas on the West Coast. I'd like to dig into, obviously, the box scores when they played earlier this year. We did have an early January meeting near the start of conference play. Boise rolled in that game, 82-59. They're up by 15 at the half. Really nothing misleading there. But what's interesting, they played the rematch very recently, just a week ago, last Saturday, less than a week ago. Utah State got the revenge, won by 13. They were up by 14 at the half. So both home teams dominated. Both are altitude teams, but they're both used to the altitude, so I don't think that'll be an issue. And it's something else to keep in mind with these tournaments, something we haven't talked about. We talk about 2-3 games in a row, conditioning and whatnot. Altitude teams have a little bit better conditioning just because they play in the thin air and altitude. When they're not in it anymore, I think that's something to take a look in that's not accounted by the odds makers. These 2 teams did shoot extremely well from the free throw line last week, 31 for 36 in that most recent meeting. That's one of the reasons it got to 159, but still a lot of wiggle room there to the over. If they do slow down a bit tonight, the over is a concern, but I would not disagree with over 145 in this one.
Up and over for Merrill here. And what are you thinking there, Trig? Were you impressed at all with what you see from Utah State here in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, I promise we didn't talk before the show, right? But I'm leaning like we're all kind of on the same thing. Like we're seeing it the same way. I agree with these guys with the over. First of all, Joe, I like both of these teams are really good. I don't really want to even mess with picking a side here because I really do think it can be like a very competitive, very good game. But I guess the one concern with Boise just playing the overtime game, that game that they got blown out by Utah State on the final day of the regular season, did follow their big win over San Diego State. So Boise has tended to if you look like after a big win, then the fatigue may show up a little bit there, which is probably only going to push this up and over because if you look at the score of that game after the San Diego State game, they play Utah State, they lose 86-73. I think the most interesting thing in regards to there potentially being points here is that Utah State's kind of got to be feeling at home at the Thomas and Mack Center. They're playing their third game in this building in the last 2 weeks. In both of those games, they've scored 91 points. They scored 91 points last night, and they scored 91 points on this floor a week ago when they played UNLV. So just the fact that Boise may be a little bit fatigued after the overtime win, and when we saw them fatigued a week, I'm just going to chalk it up to fatigue. Typically, playing San Diego State usually, causes some fatigue, especially when you play hard enough to win, and then had to turn around and they played that game against Utah State, which went well over this number. There was 159 points in that game. I actually looked and said, you know what? I'm not a totals guy, Joe. I haven't given out a total all year, but it seems low to me. I would have made this closer to 150. I kind of expected to see a low one or a high 140s. So at the mid 140s, you may have a little value on the over. Utah State, we know they're a great 3-point shooting team. If they're feeling it on this court in this building and the threes are falling, those points are probably going to come. So I agree with the guys here. I think we probably see this one find a way over as well.
Yeah, and they're out. I mean, Utah State certainly doesn't mind going up tempo, averaging about 70, 71 possessions a game. There could be some fireworks here tonight with Boise State taking on Utah State, and again, don't forget, I do believe it's also daylight savings time. If you happen to be in part of the world that is kicking in, I believe tonight. What is it? Spring back. Forward, we're losing an hour, which sucks.
Sunday, Joe. Sunday.
Don't get
ahead of yourself.
Saturday. It's really Saturday.
Don't spring
Monday,
forward too fast.
Just that. Well, you don't want to miss any of the games either coming up on Sunday. Being like, what happened? It's a late start. But Utah State, Boise State, trying to get to the final there in the Mountain West should be a fun one. And of course, plenty of games still to go here. We've got just about a handful coming to a close with the early tip. And now, of course, we'll try to figure out if there is another game on the schedule these guys like a little more than the rest. And Drew, we'll start with you. Which one of these games did you circle for us here tonight?
I'm going with Scott Van Pelt's Maryland Terrapin, Joe, +2.5, Caesars Sportsbook, +2, widely available out there. Trend is our friend in this one, guys. Maryland hot right now. They've won 4 of their last 5 against the spread. They just won by 16 over Minnesota last night, a game under their belt. Indiana coming in off the bye. They're just 1-6, their last 7 against the spread. They've been overpriced here. Hoosiers haven't had a whole lot of success in the Big Ten tournament. I think they actually might be one and done here. Sprinkle a little bit on the money line. I think wrong team's favored. I think the Terps are the side. Top 35 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. Steve Merrill loves it. I love that stat as well. Those teams tend to play better in March Madness. And another type of profile I like here, guys. Senior point guard and their best player, Jameer Young. Ball is in his hands, tight situations. I like that type of profile. He's a good player. I think Maryland actually wins this game outright. Put the 2.5 in our pocket. My best bet, Joe, is the Maryland Terrapins.
All right, Maryland Terrapins getting it done here tonight for Drew. How about you, Steve? Where are you looking at here tonight on the board for us?
Gonna get to a free college basketball play for tonight on Friday. And by the way, the free plays have been just red hot, hitting almost 70% the last month and a half. These are free every day on my page at WagerTalk.com. We cash both Wednesday and Thursday with the free plays. Give you what I use tonight on Friday in college hoops. But more importantly, the best bet, 7-2, 78% run the last 3 nights alone in college and pro hoops. I've got 2 strong plays tonight on Friday, 1 in college, 1 in the NBA, a 2-for-1 special right now, along with that bonus free play. And don't forget also, not too late, last chance to enter my Selection Sunday contest. You only have a couple days remaining. Get on board right now. Answer enough questions correctly, and you win anywhere from 1 day to 1 year, a $2,000 value of my best bets for free. Completely free to enter, and it's fun. A Selection Sunday contest on my page right now, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at a game that was just a bit outside from making the cut tonight at 7 Eastern in the Big 12 tournament. Kansas minus 4.5, and this is very close to being a best bet. I'm going to use it as the free play, but I do like the Jayhawks. And once again, I'd recommend treating these free plays as 1 to 2% opinions. They've been doing it very well over the past month and a half. Bill Self, a standard procedure. It was not a heart attack, it turns out. But he went to the hospital for a standard procedure. Yeah, very standard in the middle of the Big 12 tournament. But anyway, he's out the rest of the tournament.
It was all planned.
They're not going to. It was planned. Just decided to do it in the quarterfinals. But he's not going to be back for the semifinals. 2 ways to look at it, but I do think it'll rally the team. I think they'll stay focused, and they are playing for the overall number 1 seed still. In fact, in my free contest, I've got who will be the number 1 overall seed, Houston, Alabama, or other. Joe Lenardi says it's going to be Kansas. I actually don't agree. You can enter. You can tell me which way is right or wrong on that one. But Kansas has a lot to play for. I am also concerned that Iowa State plays slow. Kansas plays fast. But I like Kansas in this game. They're the much better team. Iowa State's 7th best defense in the country. Kansas the 8th best defense. And Kansas has a huge edge on offensive efficiency. They're almost 70 points higher in the ratings. These teams played twice. Kansas won the first one at home. It was a tight one. And then they lost by 15 in the rematch in late February. But that's why I like Kansas tonight, because it'll keep them focused. They will not overlook this opponent, and they will not overlook this game. Kansas Jayhawks minus 4.5 at 7 Eastern tonight on Friday. 2 strong best bets in college and pro. 2-for-1 special and the free contest. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, good stuff there, Merrill. And Trig, I don't know, I'm going to guess Kent State, but I could be wrong. Go ahead. Where are you rolling here tonight, man?
Now, like I said at the top of the show, Joe, that's going to be an awesome game. I really like both of those teams. I just threw the Kent State hoodie on because I cashed with them yesterday. They were one of my 4 plays, all of which won. So a nice 4-0 day for me. It's been a really good run. 21-6 run. I have 2 plays for Friday. I really like both of them. One of them's a 5% play, which is up at my page now. And I'm going to give you the other one for free. So 4% best bet for me. I'm heading back to my MAC, Joe, the MAAC. If you didn't know, I went to Siena College, so I just decided that that's my MAC.
Yep.
But anyway, no, Siena's not in that tournament anymore, but 2 teams that are, inexplicably, if you will, are St. Peter's and Marist. The 10, I believe off the top of my head, the 10 and 11 seed in that conference tournament will play for a chance to go and get slaughtered by Iona most likely. But tonight they're playing each other, and it should be a pretty competitive game. Line is +1. However, I see a team, one of these teams with a pretty big edge, and that team is St. Peter's. You look at the first 2 meetings this year, St. Peter's mauled Marist on the glass. They're a very good rebounding team. And remember, guys, this is not St. Peter's Elite 8 team from last year. They're a very different team. First-year head coach, of course, Holloway has moved on to Seton Hall. A lot of those players moved on as well. But this is a team, they've grown throughout the year. They've gotten better. They've played much better the last couple weeks of the season. It looks like things are finally coming together. And they are a very, very bad matchup for Marist. First, I already referenced it. They're probably going to win the rebounding battle. And if you've watched Marist at all this year, you'll know that they play a very ugly style of basketball. It's really predicated on tough defense and Patrick Gardner sort of being able to be the guy that gets the offense going. They're not a very good offensive team, so they really kind of rely on him and then just like garbage points to fill it out. I don't see Marist getting those second chance opportunities against St. Peter's, and St. Peter's has the defensive pieces to give Gardner trouble, like they did in the first 2 meetings this year. Marist has also shot the ball for their standards out of their minds the first 2 games of this tournament against Manhattan And then last night against Quinnipiac, just absolutely destroyed Quinnipiac. I was on Marist last night, plus 5.5. The game was never close. They played as good as they possibly could. This is a Marist team that finished in last in the MAC this year. I don't know if they have 3 of those games in a row. I was worried that they weren't going to have 2 of them in a row. I certainly don't think that they have 3 performances like that in a row. St. Peter's there's more paths to victory for this Peacock team. They're a little bit more well-rounded. I think they should be favored. They're a 1-point dog. So St. Peter's is +1 is going to be my 4% best bet. I think the Peacocks find a way to get back to the title game.
All right, there you go. St. Peter's it is. And our good friends from the goldsheet.com, they got a play that they're looking at. It's going to be the total in the Penn State Northwestern game. They are going to go up and over this total as both teams have advanced here. And they are pointing out, of course, the 58 three-point attempts in that first meeting last week, as well as both teams being loaded with a whole lot of upperclassmen, seniors that certainly will not be affected by the atmosphere. And, of course, Northwestern's defense allows a ton of three-point attempts. Penn State, well, they're going to take a whole lot of threes. Live by the 3, die by the 3. Any which way you cut it. Penn State, Northwestern, up and over this total here. And I'm going to look at a total as well tonight, and that's going to be in the Oregon-UCLA game. I am going to go up and over the 134 and a half. Listen, Jalen Clark, best defender for UCLA by far. Without him, there's going to be some times, not just this game, but I think moving forward, where UCLA is going to have to just flat out outscore some teams here, and they certainly have the talent to do that. Oregon not going to win playing UCL's game. They're going to have to crank it up here with Dana Altman and get some points in this one. I think it's a little short. I'm going to go up and over the 134 with UCLA and Oregon here tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern time tip there. And to recap one more time, Drew says, give him Maryland over Indiana. He's going to take the 2.5 points. Steve Merrill, Kansas laying at the 4.5 over Iowa State for him, while Trigg still trying to figure out how St. Peter's is even in this spot, but as long as they are, you might as well take them. +1. Our friends at the Gold Sheet, they like Penn State Northwestern up and over to 130.5. And I'm going to go with that over 134 with Oregon and UCLA here tonight out in the Pac-12. And, of course, all the best bets are available over at WagerTalk.com. Just head over there right now. Drew Martin on a 2-0 run there, ready to go. Trigg hasn't lost since 1986. And, of course, Merrill ready to go here tonight, guys. Best bets, both college and NBA, ready to roll. Visit all 3 of these guys now. Partner up. Get one of those March Madness packages, or even, hell, the 3-day all-access passes. Get every play all weekend long from these guys over at WagerTalk.com. All right, that does it for us. Of course, Selection Sunday. We'll be back next week. We'll break it all down. We'll take a look at some of these brackets, give you some of our initial thoughts, and see if we can't, of course, make it one hell of a profitable March Madness. And again, just a quick reminder, visit Trigg over on his Twitter page there, as well as WagerTalk.com. Check out the East Coast meet and greet up in Verona, New York, where Trigg and many of the others at Wager Talk will be. Big meet and greet.
Yeah, and Joe, real quick.
Saturday,
real
is
quick.
it, Trigg?
Yeah, real quick. If you have questions about the meet and greet, just shoot me a DM on Twitter. I answer all of them basically. And if you have like specific questions about the area, I live here, I can pretty much answer anything you need to know. So just shoot me a DM. I'll answer whatever you need.
Get over there, guys. Give them your Twitter handle one more time, Trigg, in case they don't have it.
Yeah, it's at Top Flight SI on Twitter. TOPFLIGHT, the letter S, the letter I. Yeah, just shoot me a message. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
He'll get you going there, guys. All right, guys, awesome stuff. Best of luck with all your plays tonight and this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week. Good luck.
How do you like to finish the college basketball season paying under $30 per week? Between now and Selection Sunday on March 12th, there's still tons of regular season college basketball action to go. Plus, all of the conference tournaments and WagerTalk and Sports Memo are announcing their March Madness Bonanza special that will include the rest of the college basketball regular season, conference tournaments, NCAA tournament through the national championship, and any plays released in the NIT or CBI tournaments. That's right, from Monday, February 27th through Monday, April 3rd, there are 5 full weeks of hoops action, which breaks down to under $30 per week. Sign up for this promotion now on your favorite handicapper's homepage and get the rest of the college basketball season through the national championship in Houston on Monday, April 3rd, plus all non-March Madness tourneys, including the NIT and CBI, all for only $149. That's under $5 a day for one of the best betting experiences in sports. Some call March Madness the most exciting time in sports betting, so act fast as the March Madness Bonanza special is only available for a limited time. Grab your favorite college basketball handicapper, or perhaps add 2 or 3 college hoops experts to make this March Madness not only exciting, but also profitable. No coupon is needed, just head to the homepage of the handicapper of choice and lock the $149 price in now. As the earlier you sign up, the more days you receive.